There is no excruciating pain higher than what God suffered at the cross of Calvary. I tell you, he suffered that limits of pain, and he was somebody that did not have any sin. He had the power to step down from that cross, but he wanted to participate with the suffering of man, so that you will not say, God, you allow us to suffer. You don't know what it means to be a man. So I don't normally reply to people like this. I don't know this person, but most times why I don't reply to them is because these guys don't need any explanation. What they need is an encounter, right? Because there is a difference between someone that wants to believe God and someone that does not love God. These are two different things. But why I'm replying this one is for those that genuinely love God and needs maybe an explanation, not just to themselves, but to people, right? And probably to throw more light on that context. That God must be useless if he watches innocent people pass through excruciating pain and then, or he does not exist. That is exactly what I said about having a superhero mentality. Let me tell you something. Like this, my friend, he had a girlfriend, and then he was in this business transaction where he wanted to send money to somebody, and mistakenly, maybe the girl was in his beneficiary, so he sent the money to his girlfriend. Right? So he called the girlfriend, please, I sent this money to you by mistake. I wanted to send it to somebody. Can you send it back to me? Thank you. And the girl refused. Leave it now. Send the guy, sort the thing out. This money has entered my account, blah, 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 blah. Leave it now. And he begged the girl for 3 good days. The girl actually refused. After 3 days, the girl started spending the guy's money. This money is about 1 million naira. Almost 1 million naira. And she spent it in 2 weeks. And then when this thing happened, everybody was like, why did you allow her to spend it to this point? How did you allow her to spend it to this point? If it was me, I would have called police or military to come to her house. Soldiers will come to her house and harass her and get. And then I started thinking about this. I now said, maybe it is better that he allowed her to actually see her full tendency. And then this girl can no longer deny that she's a bad person. And then they broke up. You get. We checked the bank statement. She started spending that money after 3 days. Imagine he reacted fast, and after 3 days of begging her, he sent police or sent the soldiers to go and embarrass her or arrest her or something. I know what the girl would say. The girl would be like, you don't trust me. I was just joking with you. I was just teasing you. You really called the police on me. You really called the police on your girlfriend. You are very wicked, And people will be like, you overreacted. Why would you call police? She was just playing with you. You get. And it may even get to the point where you yourself will call those police, go apologize to her, and even send her money, sorry money. And of course, she'll send you back your money, but you may even end up sending her money again, and then you guys will still be in the relationship. And you will not really know that this girl, if you actually allow that, she would have spent her money. She will be like, I did not mean it. And this comes to the context of this. I know you may be wondering, how does this relate? Let's look at Psalms 115 verse 16. The Bible says that the heavens are the Lord's, but the earth he has given to the children of men. That God gave us custody of the earth. And this is what happens, that when you tell somebody to handle and manage something, a good person or somebody that is busy, somebody that is a matured person will allow you to handle that thing. He may tell you, don't do this, don't do that. But when you actually want to take the decision, he will allow you, right? And when you talk about free will, that God allows us to express the will and live with the consequences. And sadly, sometimes that consequences affect another person that is not even related to it. Our lives are intertwined, right? So that what you're doing can cause harm to another person. And God is not going to be running around saving everybody. As a matter of fact, I'm not saying that he does not do that. He does that. The amount of people God has saved from danger and trouble and destruction is more than the people we're actually seeing. God is always in the business of saving and healing people and delivering people, and he's still doing that today. But when you see things that happen such like this, that you see something bad happen and you're not like, God, why didn't you save this? He's not a police. Do you get what I'm saying? And even when those things happen, sometimes he allows them to have their focus. Just like when Eve wanted to take the forbidden fruit. God did not rush from heaven. He could have just done and appeared and then held Eve's hand and be like, don't touch this, and I told you not to touch it, right? But that's what you do to a dog. That's not what you do to a man that has free will. That's not what you do to a God entity, a man created in the image and likeness of God that has free will. That's not what you do to them. You tell them, I have said before, your life and death. Choose life, that it may be well with you. But if you want to choose death, nobody does anything wrong without knowing that this thing is wrong. No human being does that. And then, is there sickness? Is there malfunction? Can somebody wake up to cancer and things that he does not even know how it was his fault? And then this is the reality of life. You can either accept this as a reality that on this earth things are not perfect because human beings have not perfectly aligned with God. Therefore, there is pain. Therefore, there is sorrow. There are a lot of things that goes wrong. Human beings, we have given the devil access to our world, and then the devil is ruling, manipulating people, causing havoc there and there. And God has given us a promise that at the end of these things, he will come and end these sorrows. And this is our earnest hope. And if you have a relationship with him, the Bible says, they that call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. And God is always saving people. It's not like you're going through the road and you're seeing children everywhere and children are facing extreme pain. There are cases like that, but they are not in the majority. And when you talk about pain and excruciating suffering, Jesus Christ, God himself, faced this pain. He suffered. There is no excruciating pain higher than what God suffered at the cross of Calvary. I tell you, he suffered that limit of pain. His nerves were spiking, he was pierced, he suffered, and he was somebody that did not have any sin. And you know the point that he had the power to step down from that cross, but he wanted to participate with the suffering of man, so that you will not say, God, you allow us to suffer. You don't know what it means to be a man. That is the end point of it. He allowed his disciples, his friends, to actually suffer. They were killed, they were maimed, and many of these people, they were smiling doing so. Why? They totally understood the reality of God and who God was. That suffering is not something you can escape in this life that we have. If I face suffering, I call upon God and say, help me. If it is my Lord, as I said, the disciples suffered and they carried this through to the end. Why did God allow them to suffer? So that there will be a witness to you, that they were sure of what they were saying. If they lived in luxury, you may say they created a religion, they enriched themselves, and that thing benefited them. But you actually see that this thing did not benefit them. It led them to their graves, and they were saying it. No one bears a witness he knows is false when he leads him to his grave. They were living like people that did not have hope. Why? Because they were bearing witness of the truth. That suffering that they suffered will be a witness to everyone who does not believe. He will say, these people died saying this thing to you. They shed their blood, paying the sacrifice, and you did not believe it. That is where the problem is. I've talked about many videos like this, and I keep saying these things, that when you talk about the concept of suffering, understand where God's stand is, understand what God is talking about, and forget about those movies that you have in your mind where people expect the superhero to have. That's not who God is. God is not a superhero. So it's either you accept this, then follow God, and He'll give you an expected end, or you forget about it and live your life. You're still going to face suffering, by the way. You're not atheist does not mean that you're not going to suffer. You're still going to suffer. But then the point is that when you finish suffering, the men suffering, he's coming. I'm laughing, but it's not funny. The men suffering, you never even see anything. That's what I just want to say. God cannot be bossed around, and He's not useless. This is a long video. I actually made another video where I talked about whether God was all good and all powerful, where people said all good, all powerful, blah, blah, blah. That is another side to look at it, because many people are saying, this kind of people are saying, God is not good enough for me. If this is what people call God, then He's not good enough.